A man walks into a restaurant and asks the receptionist, "Do you serve crabs in here?" The receptionist replies, "We serve anyone here. Have a sit, sir." A length of rope went to a bar and asked the bartender for a beer. "We don't serve rope in here." Upon disappointment, the rope got out the bar and a man and asked to him to tie a knot and separate both ends of him. The rope went to the bar and ordered again some beer. The bartender said, "Aren't you the same rope who was in here before?" The rope replied, "I'm afraid not. There was a husband and wife sitting next to a passed out guy inside a cafe." All of a sudden, the passed out guy shouted, "Attention all," and fart loudly. The wife looks embarrassed and the husband was mad and told the guy, "Hey, excuse me, you just fart at my wife." The passed out guy replied, "My apologies, I didn't know it was her turn." Why did the tomato turn red? Because he saw the salad dressing. There was a lonely man living alone in an apartment. Downstairs is a local pet shop. Because he was so lonely, the man pays a visit there and asks the shop owner for a recommendation to make him as a companion. The owner suggested an unusual type of pet, a talking worm. The man said, "Okay, I'll take it." The man was so excited and brought the talking worm into his apartment. He made a cardboard house just for his talking worm. Later on, the lonely man was testing the worm if it really can talk by saying that he was going to the near bar to have a drink. "Hey, little guy, I am going to the bar to have a drink. Want to come?" Apparently, the worm doesn't talk back. The lonely man tried once more. "I am going for a booze. Do you want to come with me?" Again, the worm doesn't make a sound. The lonely man didn't want to give up and tries for the last time. "I am going to the bar to have a drink. If you won't talk back, I will return you downstairs." The worm suddenly said, "I am not deaf. Please don't shout. I am just putting my freaking shoes. Why can't you milk a mouse? Because you can't get a bucket under it." He told the waitress, "Can I have a bowl of chili?" The waitress said, "I'm very sorry, but that man at the bar just got the last bowl." The man saw the other customer sitting and noticed that the chili bowl was still full. He sat next to the other man and said, "Excuse me, but it's been freezing all day, and I've had a serious craving. Could I buy this off you?" After a moment, the second man said, "Sure. Help yourself." So the man began eating the chili. As he got down to the bottom of the dish, he noticed something unusual. Turning his fork over, he realized the truth. There was a dead mouse in the chili. Horrified, the man immediately vomited the chili back into the bowl. And the second man leaned over and said, "That's about as far as I got, too. Me and the girlfriend went to the restaurant for the first time in ages." The waiter said, "I'm sorry, but we are so busy tonight. Would you mind waiting for a bit?" I said, "No problem." He said, "Good. Now take these drinks to table. Jesus and his disciples walk into a restaurant. Jesus, a table for 26, please. But there's only 13 of you. Yeah, we're all going to sit on the same side. Did you hear sushi restaurants are about to release a new type of roll? It is the Lady Gaga roll, and it is served raw, 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 raw. I was at a restaurant and a waitress yelled, "Does anyone know CPR?" I said, "I know the whole alphabet." Everyone laughed and laughed. Well, everyone except one. A Mexican guy and his pet otter go to a restaurant, sit down at a table, and place their order. They are in for an early dinner and are the only customers. The chef looks down at the order slip and says incredulously, "Who comes to a restaurant and orders a whole raw fish?" His sous chef scans the restaurant, sees his only 2 customers, and replies, "It's either Juan or the otter." I'm going to start a restaurant called Revenge is a Dish Best Served Cold. You know what we're going to serve? Just desserts. At a hotel restaurant, a man sees an attractive woman sitting alone at the next table. Suddenly she sneezes, and a glass eye comes flying out of her eye socket. It hurls by the man, and he snatches it from the air and hands it back to her. "This is so embarrassing," the woman says, and she pops her eye back in place. "I'm sorry to have disturbed you. Let me buy dinner to make it up to you." "May I join you?" he nods. The woman is a stimulating conversationalist, stunningly pretty, and the man finds they have a lot in common. He gets her phone number and asks, "You are the most charming woman I've ever encountered. Are you this nice to every guy you meet?" "No," she replies. "You just happened to catch my eye. Have you heard they opened one of those Brazilian meat restaurants at the top of the Burj Khalifa? You got to be careful, though, because the stakes are really high." I bought a shabby little place in Bangkok above a nice restaurant. It was a bad Thai pad, but good pad Thai. Did you hear about the Mexican restaurant that only serves Indian food? Turns out the chef is a nonconformist. It is funny how my wife waits for me in the kitchen all night till I come back from the pub, just to ask me what time it is. How many line cooks does it take to screw in a light bulb? 3. 1 to do it, and 2 to say that they did it better at the previous restaurant they were at. We were at a restaurant today, and my dad was talking about a place called Sea Ranch. I asked, what do they raise there? Seahorses?